Okay, so in this time, like my thoughts are kind of scattered. I'm a fire sign. I'm a Leo, so I'm full of ideas and full of vibrant energy, and it's hard for me to sit still and focus on one topic unless it's like something I'm really into and we're talking. Like in conversation is natural. I can just go and go and go. For that's my nature, is to burn wild like that. But trying to put some focus to this, so bear with me. I'm at no means a PhD of all these topics, but I am very conscious, and I have lived some of these things throughout my life and met very knowledgeable people, as well as taken in a lot of decent research. I do read, research, dig. I also watch some conscious people on YouTube as well. But through studies and over the years, we touched on a few things already, and we talked about how positivity works. It's kind of a method, like a measure of science in a sense, where negative to positive things exist. Out of your consciousness, it happens. There we have this kind of mathematical equation going on, you always notice like things seem to be a one within the other type deal. So a bubble within a bubble within a bubble within a bubble type thing, and we are the same as the earth is, and the earth is equal parts of the universe, and yada yada yada. So then we have this origin story, like people wonder a lot about it, as well as I do. Everyone does, especially when you're on your self journey. You wonder how we tap into this consciousness, and like, where does it come from? Well, even as far back dated as I could find from many different sources, it seems to be, from the collection of data, seems to be that in the beginning, the being that we would call the creator, or the God, right? Creator, the grand architect of all, was alone and grew in consciousness until that consciousness became a spark, and that exploded in a thought, and that thought became solid intermittent light going across the cosmos in a refracted manner. So that became, there we have it again, is what I'm trying to say, is there we have it again, this instance of consciousness is reality, and the sum of the reality is the whole, but broken down is the perception. So all we get is a perception of the angle of the consciousness, which can exist in many different ways because it hasn't been predetermined. It's like a thought. Like I said before, you're thinking about taking out the trash. You're thinking about going to the store. You're thinking about fixing your car, whatever needs to be done, But until it takes shape some way, somehow, it needs to solidify. So it needs to have more reactions. It has to be seen through. And so that's what's interesting, is that it seems to be that we're the spawning of what needs to be seen through, so it can take hold. It becomes positive. And it's like the same cycle with us. We think about it, we set our gaze towards it, but then we actually have to see that vision through, and then it comes to fruition, and it can be, which there are other things that you don't have to actually touch that still comes to fruition, because we're sending out energy all the time, negative, positive, and bad, and low frequency and high frequency. That's a better way to say it, but yeah, I hope you find that interesting, and you can look up more about that, and if you have questions or anything like that, or if you just want to build and mesh the minds, and it's all about growth. So that's what I'm about. So love, peace, knowledge. Y'all always be bright lights in the darkness. All right, peace.